Hi everyone, it's Tina today, and I wanted to show you how I created the layout or the background for my layout using distress paints with the July kit. So the first thing I did was just take a piece of chipboard and coated it with gesso, so I had pre-did that before this video, and took the two distress paints that were in the kit and a spray bottle. So then I took the distress paint and shook it up. You have to shake up distress paints before you use them, and then just add some of the distress paint to your craft mat or your craft sheet. So I'll do that with both colors. Yeah, you'll be able to hear when you shake up the distress paints. There's a little ball in there that really mixes it up well. And then just spritz it a couple times with water from your spray bottle. And then I just took my chipboard and placed it down on the craft mat, and I already started creating a really cool background to my layout just by putting your paint down on a craft sheet, spritzing it with water, and placing your chipboard on top of it. So I just kept doing this around my chipboard till I got a look that I liked. I'm just cleaning up my craft mat there. I'm going to go ahead and dry it really quick with my heat tool. And that creates a really fun background. It's totally unique, one of a kind. Nothing will ever look the same. So now I'm going to add some more texture to the background. So I took one of my stamps and used the cream color distress paint and daubed right onto the stamp. And now I'm going to stamp on my chipboard in various places. And then I'm going to add some more texture with a different stamp. And this time I'll use the green distress paint from the kit. Do the same thing, just daub right onto the stamp. I love these daubers. They're super easy and you don't have to worry about a lot of cleanup on a plate. You can just daub right onto your stamps. So I have built the background of my layout pretty fast and pretty easy with just basically two different colors of distress paint, and obviously you can use more colors if you choose, some water, and then I had pre-gessoed a piece of chipboard. So now I'm going to start building more layers to my layout. So I just took a sheet from one of my old dictionaries and ripped it out, and then I ripped it into 3 pieces to place down. And now I'm just going to start placing different things down on my layout to see exactly where I want them. You can see I cut one of the squares from the ephemera sheet that was included in the July kit to possibly use on my background. So now I'm going to use the matte medium that was included in the kit, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to my background. This matte medium is really nice. It's a nice thickness and it's matte, so it doesn't leave a glossy finish, which I actually like. I'm just adhering my dictionary pages down. And I'm going to go ahead and let that dry. So now I'm going to take one of the squares that was from the memory box in the July kit, because I'm going to use that on my layout. So I'm just covering one of the squares with the ivory color of the distress paint. And similar to what I did on the background of my layout, I went ahead and put the green on my craft mat, spritzed it with some water, and just laid the little square into it. And it creates a really fun marbly look to the square. So now I've got 2 pieces I can use on my layout. So now I'm going to add some more texture and dimensioned instead of just having the dictionary paper lay on top of my background. So I'm using Papersoft right now. I'm just trying to layer more color onto it, distress it a little bit. I'm going to use some of the ivory color, and I'm just going to put some on my craft mat. Again, I love these daubers. They're so nice and easy to use, and I'll use my cosmetic sponge just again to add some of the color to the dictionary paper to blend it in more in the background so it doesn't look like it's just laying on top of the chipboard. And go ahead and dry it with my heat tool. Now I want to distress some of it. So actually I found out with this matte medium it sticks on there pretty good. I even tried to use an X-Acto knife to rip up some of the corners. So I have, and I don't remember what this tool is actually called, but I have it. It's from Tim Holtz. You can see his sandpaper doesn't even bring it up. You'll see here in a minute. I'll use this tool. Let me see if I can find it here. It's a distressing tool from Tim Holtz. I can't find it here in front of me. But I ended up pulling that out to distress the edges, and I just roughed up the paper, let it rip in some spots, and this worked pretty well on my background. So now I'm just going to shake off the excess. Make sure my background is clean. Now I'm going to, that's the square that I put the distress paint on that I was going to use on my background. And now I'm going to start placing the photo and some of the ephemera onto the background just to see exactly again where I want it on my background and see what looks best. I really liked the colors in the kit this month too. The green and the ivory worked really well with the ephemera sheet because you had the pops of the reds with the more neutral colors on the ephemera sheet, and it worked really well together. Now I think I know where I'm going to place everything, so I'm going to go ahead and get it ready to adhere down to my background. I also would like to use some of the hinges that were included in the July kit, so I'm going to go ahead and take two of the smaller ones. And actually where you see me place them here is not where I ended up with them on my layout, but they added a nice dimension to the page. You'll see in the end. So the distress paint you can also use on metal, which I love. So I just daub some of the ivory color onto the metal. And then I do the same with the green. I add some of the green in there, again, not to make it just one solid color, to add more dimension and interest to it. And you can see there's not a lot of cross-contamination between the daubers by putting the green on the ivory color. So I dry the hinges with my heat tool. So now I'm back to placing everything down on my background. So now I'm going to just start adhering the ephemera sheets and my photo to the background. And I love to use pop dots or foam tape to add more of a dimension to most of my layouts. So I actually got the dimension by using one of the little squares from the memory box. So before I put that down, I'm using some of the Prima tape that was also included in the July kit, which I really like actually for mixed media. This was the first time I've ever used it, but it has a nice tackiness to it. So it actually stuck to a lot of my mixed media projects where some washi tapes don't have very much adhesive to it, so they don't really stick down very well. But this washi tape has a nice thick quality to it, and it worked really well for mixed media. So again, I'm just building on layer and pattern on my background. So now what I thought I would do on top of my hinges is use some of the Crackle. So this was included in the July kit as well, the little bottle of Crackle. So I just put that on top of the hinges, and I'll let that dry, so when the hinges dry, they'll look old and aged with the Crackle. This flower is actually from my stash. It is not included in the July kit, but I really liked the pops of red color to my layout. So I pulled the whole vine out, and I'm going to go ahead and use it on my page. I also went ahead and adhered the two hinges down to the side, so you can see I had moved them from where I originally was going to place them on the layout to the other side. And again, they add a lot of dimension and texture to the background and just interest to the background. So now I want to go ahead and add the title to my page. So another thing that's really nice about these Distress Paint daubers is you can go ahead and change colors of things really easy with the dauber. I buy a lot of stickers and chipboard pieces and letters like this in white, because then you can color it to anything, so you get kind of more bang for your buck when you're doing that. So I just put my stickers down on my craft mat, my saying that I wanted for the title, and now I'm just daubing on some of the green Distress paint, and I'm going to dry them to put on my layout. And it was perfect because the color matched exactly everything else in my layout, and I got more use out of my product that way. Now I'm just poking out the middles of some of the letters before I put them down on my layout. And that is it for my layout. I hope you enjoyed this, and I look forward to my next video. Thank you.